Okay, men, we're back to the 10 Commandments, and these are the things that if we keep them, it helps us to become the men of God that God created us to be, the men of quality, the men of character. If we break them, it does something in our soul and diminishes that image of manhood and being the man that God created us to be. This is the 7th commandment. It is one that we have to deal with today. Jesus said, or actually God said, "You shall not commit adultery." Now, folks, in our sex-crazed culture, and it almost seems that the boundaries, the moral boundaries that are supposed to be in life have almost been wiped out, and it's almost okay to do anything. But in God's laws and in God's morals, adultery is still wrong. That's when you're married and you have sex with somebody other than your wife. Now, the other side to that is fornication, which I'm really not talking about, but it's part of it. It's any sex outside of marriage. Marriage was God's idea, but He designed it to be within the confines of marriage. So any sex outside of marriage is a violation of God's moral laws. And I'm going to tell you something, it will cause destruction to come to your life. If you read the book of Proverbs, any sex outside of marriage, or if you're married, sex with anybody else other than your wife will cause you to lose your honor. It'll cause you to lose your goods, your substance. It'll bring disgrace and damage to your life. And biblically, now I'm not trying, I thank God that we have some New Testament scriptures that talk about recovery, but there are Old Testament scriptures that says this, that if you go into the immoral woman, you will never attain to the path of life again. That's a dangerous statement. Now, thank God we've got some grace in the New Testament, but in the Old Testament, it says there's a possibility if you commit adultery, you may never get back to where you were. And I might even go so far as say this, you may never even make it to heaven. That's how dangerous this thing called adultery is. And in the Old Testament, the consequence or the penalty for adultery was you were killed. It was a capital crime. Now, man, you say, Pastor Tim, you're speaking some hard stuff. Sometimes we've got to be reminded of God's value system and not man's value system. The world's value system says, and I've even read articles, there are articles that say a little adultery might help your marriage. No, it won't. It could damn your soul to hell. So I'm challenging you, and I know in the midst of this crazy era that we live in, we need to hear God's standard. God said you're not to commit adultery, and it could damn your soul to hell if you get involved with somebody that you're not married to.